the genocide that is being carried out. I'm not speaking to change the minds of those who have chosen to be on the wrong side of history. I am not here to appeal to the conscience of those who care less about Palestinians. Ignorance no longer stands 130 days in, for it is not the eyes that are blind, but the heart. We are here to demand that Binghamton University divest from Israel and the ongoing genocide. I will now read the protocol for the protest. This is a secular protest, but for anyone wishing to pray Maghrib prayers, it will be held at 6:15 by a student volunteer in the interfaith prayer room in the Union. Again, these are the rules we are trying to abide by. Remain secular. We respect and uphold freedom of religion, but this is not a religious issue. Do not interact with Zionists or any counter-protesters. We are here with one goal, and that is to put pressure on the university to divest. Remain civil and respectful of other attendants as well. We have at least 6 security marshals. Yeah, I just said that, okay. To make sure that no one gets harmed or to de-escalate any situation. Obviously, it goes without saying since we're here, but we condemn all form of bigotry before anyone tries to paint us in any negative light. We may be opening the microphone to members of the audience, and if this is the case and you choose to speak, again, please remain civil. As of our demands for Binghamton University, we demand the implementation of BDS on campus. This includes an academic boycott, breaking ties with Israeli universities, including study abroad programs. We demand the formation of a Palestinian Studies Department. We demand that Binghamton University divest from military contractors that profit from endless war and massacres.
Yes!
And lastly, we demand that the university extend protection to its Arab students in the face of repeated doxing and harassment. Thank you! Thank you and happy Palestine Day!
I'm going to read a poem, If I Must Die, by Rafat al-Arif. If I must die, you must live. To tell my story, to sell my things. To buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail. So that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope and let it be a story.
Hi everyone, my name is Aviva Friedman. I am a former city council member. I was on the city council until December 31st. I'm also a Binghamton University alum. I am also a Jew, but I am not a Zionist. I shared these words at our previous Palestine rally, so if you have heard them before, please forgive me. And if these are the first time you're hearing this, I hope that it resonates with you. I, Aviva Shulamit Friedman, am a Jew, but I am not a Zionist. Aviva, Hebrew for spring, the season in which I was born. Shulamit after my great-grandmother. Shulamit from the same root as the word shalom, which means peace. I am Israeli, but I am not a Zionist. My mother was born in Jerusalem, which gives me the right to citizenship. When I went to Israel as an adult, I had to spend days at the Israeli consulate producing documents to exempt me from the IDF. I was told had I not done this, I would have been stopped at the border and required to serve. My mother was born in Jerusalem, but my family has been there for generations prior to Israel. My roots are older than the state of Israel. My Jewish family was living in Palestine more than a century before it was the state of Israel. My family was living in Palestine, so I am not a Zionist. We know what it is like to be killed for our religion and where we live. We know what it is like to have our land and possessions stolen from us and to have a genocide committed against us. We know what it is like when the government decrees that you are subhuman, that you must leave, and that you must die. The Israeli government is doing despicable, reprehensible, and indefensible things. as it turns out, genocide does not make people righteous, it just makes people suffer. They told us to never forget. They told us to never forget, and Israel is acting as though we have forgotten.
I'm here to offer my deepest condolences to my fellow Americans on the death of their humanity. The humanity that was so selective, so frail, barely hanging by a thread, but finally died the day they chose to remain silent on the genocide of yet another indigenous people. Of course we know you're not racist, it's just a coincidence that your humanity runs out when the humans don't match the shade of your skin. My thoughts and prayers on the loss of our freedoms, our freedom of religion that was murdered in cold blood in Chicago with the 6-year-old with the tiny body stabbed ruthlessly 26 times. My condolences on the loss of the freedom of speech and freedom of expression that were shot and paralyzed along with the 3 college students wearing keffiyehs in Vermont and the stabbing of the young father in Texas who dared to show up for his people. And the list goes on and on and on. With liberty and justice for all except many of us who suddenly aren't American enough the second we want the same privileges you have. My heartfelt condolences on the death of the freedom of press. Silencing journalists every day, more than 122 murdered in the last 130 days. Propaganda ads censoring the truth, distracting us from the real news. Victim blaming, gaslighting, the mouthpieces may change, but the hate this view remains the same. Nothing is glittery enough to distract us. We will not lose our focus. My thoughts and prayers on the death of morality that died when we callously scroll through video after video of hospitals bombed, newborns suffocated, universities demolished, graveyards desecrated, children starved, civilians shot at by snipers as they waved white flags with bullets we sent with our hard-earned cash, our American dream tax dollars. Lastly, my thoughts and prayers on the untimely demise of our democracy. People have spoken, but our pleas fall on deaf ears. It's no longer the government of the people, by the people, or for the people, at least not the people of this country. In our efforts to free the colonized, now we see the illusion of our own liberty. We see the chokehold. We see that we are the ones who need to be freed. You can try to wipe our existence, smear our resistance, but you can never eliminate us. Like cactus and sand, we'll grow right back and in greater numbers. You are the cause and we are the effect, and as long as the settler colony exists, we will keep existing. We will keep resisting. We are the movement for equality, for your rights and mine, and we'll keep fighting for a free Palestine. Free Palestine!
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out on this cold and windy afternoon. And to those who didn't come alone, happy Valentine's Day. But we are on the 130th day of Israel's barbaric escalation of its siege of Gaza. Relaying the most recent statistics out of Palestine has become a tired exercise for many of us, but one which remains vital so long as the atrocities among the worst of our generation has witnessed continue to be committed. About 5% of the population of Gaza is murdered or wounded by the occupation army, according to the Euro and Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor. Genocide comes from the sky and more insidiously through the calculated deprivation of food and medicine. 500,000 Gazans are starving, and the border city of Rafah, now marked for liquidation by chief Israeli ministers, is harboring 5 times its October population. Dramatic satellite images show refugee tents sprung up everywhere they could be conceivably erected. Scholars claim an imminent disaster if Israel invades its last designated safe civilian zone, even as the regime's ambition to completely ethnically cleanse Gaza has become blatantly obvious. The disaster is already upon us, and I fear that we dissenters from the West will become paralyzed in diminishing protest cycles which offer little hope. South Africa's case International Court of Justice seem to respond to our desire for international representation, but threatens to make us passive observers of courtrooms outside of our control, which are, moreover, unable to realistically stop.
I told them if they hit that siren, we'll all run.
Unable to realistically stop the genocide, since the U.S. and Israel will not enforce any provisional measures to protect Palestinian lives. Now, more than ever, we cannot allow the spectacle of international justice, which is still beholden to diplomatic realities, to inhibit our own real political actions in the state where we live. Israel is a puppet of the United States, not the other way around, as anti-Semites would portray. Our taxes facilitate a genocide which strengthens white, European-descended colonial power in West Asia and North Africa through the proxy of a Jewish supremacist state. Only our government has the power to unilaterally end the massacres. Therefore, it matters less to Gazans how much time you spend witnessing the horrors, how much time you spent, how aware you were, or how you will remember them when they are gone. What matters more is what Americans have done collectively to prevent American bombs from falling on Gazan civilians, and to force concessions which advance the liberation and self-determination of Palestinians. This commences at the local level. Israel's Air Force is powered by base systems whose facility in Endicott, and I'll read from their website, has operations spanning commercial and defense electronics markets and offers a broad portfolio of mission-critical electronic systems from flight and engine controls for defense and commercial customers, including the State of Israel.
Yeah, that's not right.
Now, just a 20-minute drive west of our school, the Owego Lockheed Martin plant is developing our future multifunction radar, electronic warfare, and communications sensors. And Binghamton's Watson College of Engineering partners regularly with the foremost profiteers of Israeli genocide in Gaza. For which there is hardly any contest. What can we do to disrupt the engines of terror in our community? Well, the movements and organizations we build to confront the U.S. empire and its military-industrial complex are just emerging. 2 weeks ago, Sunni BDS, that's Sunni Boycott, Divest, and Sanction, formed to coordinate struggles across all 64 state campuses. But the success of their efforts will hinge on Binghamton students. Last fall, students started a chapter of Dissenters, a national anti-war and military divestment campaign in Binghamton in direct response to the crisis in Gaza. There are projects emerging to get ceasefire resolutions on our city council agenda.
Yes.
And last year's elections bode well for that. We swept, the Democrats swept. We didn't sweep, but the Democrats swept. So can we ask for more than a ceasefire resolution?
Yes.
All around us, there are ways to meaningfully contribute to the cause, so we can derive hope from our own actions. One person can bridge two disjointed struggles, can propagate a neighborhood, can raise the funds. Palestinians need you, they need me, and they need a great many folks, friends of yours and friends of mine, who are still bound by apathy.
Yes.
And who you might free. So express your love for Palestine today, on this Valentine's Day, in your words and your actions, for we have no time to waste. From the river to the sea.
To keeping this gathering secular, I want to remind all that the people of Gaza, they have no army, they have no air force, They have no navy. They have no tanks. They have no artillery. And they call this a war. Children and women are being murdered under the name of Zionism. We have no issue with the Jewish people and their aspirations for freedom from themselves. But for 75 years of occupation of the Gazan people, of the Palestinian people, who are my relatives, I have blood relations now in the West Bank. I say to you all, what is the justice in regards of over 30,000 people being murdered in the Gazan and also in the West Bank? This is a genocide. And those who stand against the history of what is being occurred now are the ones who are guilty of this genocide. If you are complicit in anything in regards of this, you stand guilty in the sight of all humanity.
We're here today on Valentine's Day, rallying for the people of Palestine. So I thought I might share some thoughts I had on love as resistance and love as revolution.
You gotta be louder.
Okay. Bell Hooks tells us that love is a verb. When one loves, one wills, and when one wills, they are propelled to action. Love is not simply a feeling, a phenomenon that we experience with no say in the matter, something out of our control which we are victims to and of. It is an insidious myth that love just happens. Love is a practice, continuously cultivated, always in need of nurture. Loving is true when it's a choice to attach, to commit. Love involves acknowledging and valuing a person for who they are, for their intrinsic worth, and not because of what they give or provide you, whether emotional or material. Love is the effort that we extend to ourselves and others in the name of genuine mutual development and growth, a natural part of which is working with and through discomfort, figuring out how to relate ourselves to pain. And Bell Hooks rightfully tells us that the West knows nothing about love, has no care to engage in a loving practice or interest in building a society on the foundation of a loving ethic. Valentine's Day is nothing more than another commercialized holiday where you're encouraged to show and express love for one another through material consumption. Make the right purchase for that special someone. Show love through how much you spend. And when I think of people's general perception of love, everything seems distorted. Love is primarily associated with positive feelings, with pleasure, with ease, with comfort and safety. Simultaneously, though, there is the notion that neglect and abuse do not have to negate love, that the hand that hits can be and is the hand that caresses and holds. People's worth is perceived and defined on an instrumental level, on how an individual can be used or is of service, and no real love can exist or grow with this mindset. So I lose my mind when Joe Biden and other Western politicians have the audacity to give us lip service about their concern and care for the livelihood and well-being of the people of Palestine. My roommate walks around the house saying, "It's not the eyes that are blind, but the heart." It's not a matter of being ignorant or unaware. It's a matter of sensitivity to suffering and a respect for the sanctity of life. If these people knew anything about love, valued humanity in any legitimate way, there would not be $14 billion more on the way to Israel right now. Funding from the UN schools would not have been suspended, and excuse after excuse would not be offered for an army and a government that has repeatedly made their genocidal intent clear. There are men being shot outside the doors of hospitals, newborn children starving, 14-year-old orphans taking care of their younger siblings, cemeteries being desecrated. If global powers and order were oriented around an ethic of care, community, shared humanity, this situation would not exist. Palestinians would be living peacefully in their own state and not under violent oppression for decades. But here we are. The Palestinian child with a dream of growing up cannot give these people anything, but an investment in the weapons manufacturing companies that bombed that child does give them something they think is significant. Since we live in a society that manipulates love, that tries to diminish its power and potency so that people are more easily exploitable and vulnerable, so that profit is within reach for the few rather than the many, engaging with and embodying love is a fundamental part of resistance and revolution, of the better world we dream of. In the face of apathy, false values, and corrupted priorities, love strengthens and love transforms. Our work for a free Palestine is a labor of love, which is the mightiest and most honorable form of labor. It's one of the only things that I believe in, and I hope you do too. Long live the resistance and long live Palestine.
Did you remember this one when you came in? Revolution is the only solution. Revolution is the only solution. Revolution is the only solution. I'm talking about a revolution. Revolution is the only solution. Revolution is the only solution. Revolution is the only solution. I'm talking about a revolution. Clap your hands. Revolution is the only solution. Stomp your feet. Revolution is the only solution. Get more. Revolution is the only solution. I'm talking about a revolution. Revolution is the only solution. Revolution is the only solution. Revolution is the only solution. I'm talking about a revolution. Revolution is Thank you everyone for coming out today. I want to start this one with the collective chant. The last song reminded me of it. Something that Fred Hampton used to do. Repeat after me. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. Yes. The purpose that we're out here is to organize. We, the people, have the power.
We the people have the power!
A lot of times it just comes down to money, but what money does buy you is influence to organize people. That is where the root of the power comes from. It's from the organization of people. Some of you may not be part of an organization, but you're taking your first steps here today and coming out and taking a stand. It's a commendable act, great first step. There's a long line of student activists in this country that have pushed back from the Vietnam War, drafts, civil rights movements, and this is the movement of our lifetime, the Palestinian resistance. This fucking guy. Talking about the hostages. You know what would free the hostages, guy? If Netanyahu would have agreed to the ceasefire. Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
We would have had all your hostages released, but Netanyahu didn't want to go along with it. You know why? Because he's holding on to political power. For 9 months before October, he was facing the largest protest movement in Israeli history because the people of Israel are upset with him. exactly right. 10,000 Palestinian hostages under administrative detention. They've been following what the United States did with the torture and Remember, do not engage with the Zionists. We have the moral high ground. There's nothing to argue with them about. They're in the wrong. They're just defending a genocide. There's a poem that they like to recite. The famous poem written by a reverend after World War II about the horrors of the Holocaust. First they came for the communists, and I did nothing because I wasn't a communist. I'm a fucking communist. We stand on the first line of defense for the oppressed people. Whether that was the Jews back when Hitler was fucking trying to exterminate them, or the Palestinians today when Netanyahu is trying to exterminate them. The poetry of this all is terrible. It rhymes so perfectly, and they're just blinded by the Hasbara that they're born and raised with. The propaganda that these people go through every day of their lives, horrible. I feel so sorry for you, Zionists. You lose touch with your humanity when you lose touch with your humanity when you separate people from one another. It's important to humanize us all, even the people that do monstrous acts. You must remember to humanize them, because the separation is what really causes the division. So remember, stay organized. If you're not organized, join an organization.
When we got here today, first of all, you ever seen this many cops on campus before, just like out here like this? That's wild, right? Why they got an army on the Peace Quad? What is that about? When we pulled up today, they said we couldn't be here because they reserved it. Guess what? We're still here. Then they said we couldn't use bullhorns. Guess what the fuck? I'm on a bullhorn. And I got 10 more if they confiscate this one, I promise you. I just want to impress upon y'all that real quickly. So many people said this couldn't happen. They said it was too cold. We wasn't going to bring people out. We needed a permit, all this other stuff. So everyone here, y'all can do this stuff. Just like the brother said, organize. Because the second we had 200 people out here, they couldn't stop us. They couldn't silence us, even though they tried to. So remember that. This will not be the last time. It's definitely the first time. We're going to keep moving, and we're going to free Palestine.
Tuition to fund war crimes. And so this may be the first event of its kind, but it won't be the last. We are planning to work with SUNY BDS to organize more events of this kind to put pressure on the administration to divest from genocide.
stay with the righteous side. We are the righteous. We are the righteous.
I have something quick to say, and I didn't plan it at all. But what I want to say is that when we started having these rallies recently in this year, or at the end of last year, when we started these rallies, it wasn't as cold as it is today. It wasn't nearly as cold as it is today. But that just goes to show how long that this has been happening. And the answer is too long. So when we stand here in the cold, and it can be hard, we're shivering, we're cold, we've got our coats, and they're handing out everything that we need. But when we're in here in the cold, we have to remember, just like the person before me said, that there are children, women and men, elderly, all of them who don't have the coats that we have today. They don't have each other to stand around because they are living in tents, if they have the tents at all. They are living in conditions far, far worse than us. So when we stand here in the cold, let's think of them. Let's think of the women and the children and the men and the elderly. No matter what, they are humans. They are humans who are suffering far worse than we are today.
We already all know this. Jewish people, including the ones in Israel, have intimate knowledge on what a genocide is. They should not be using that against the Palestinians. That knowledge of what a genocide is should never be used as a weapon. I would like to also say that Rafah, where millions of people have been forced to live in tents, is the final frontier, or what Israel thinks is the final frontier. It does not have to be the final frontier. Palestinians do not have to live as a diaspora and a memory. We have the power as citizens in the most powerful country in the world to keep that from happening.
I used to be proud of being part of the premier public university in the state of New York. I was proud of the culture that I shared with other students. But the Watson to Lockheed Martin pipeline must end. We have talented engineers here at Binghamton University, and instead of investing in public works and infrastructure, we send them straight to the war machine. A lot of people don't know where their work is going. A lot of employees for BAE and Lockheed Martin think that their money and that their time is going to something good, to defense. Israel is largely armed by Lockheed Martin. Their planes and their missiles are used to wage genocide against the innocent people of Palestine. The tents in Rafah have been bombed by missiles engineered by those at Lockheed Martin. We must stop sending money and students and scholars to Lockheed Martin. The military-industrial complex will kill all of us.
This is the first protest of its kind because we are a coalition of community members and students. We are not a group from the campus, but we plan to continue to put pressure on the administration in various ways. Tonight, we can close. If you want, you can go put your sign in front of the administration building, who is responsible for sending our tuition money to companies like Lockheed Martin